We're interviewing this morning Tatiana Kolovou. Is going to talk to us a little bit about her career and her relationship with ACSM and the summit. So welcome.
Thank you.
I just wanted to start off with a little bit about your early career. Where did you grow up?
Sure.
Where did you go to college? What did you study?
Yep. I am an academic immigrant, as I like to call myself. I came to the U.S. from Athens, Greece, back in 1984, and I was a swimmer in high school. And I picked up a book on the science of swimming written by James Councilman, Doc Councilman.
Doc Councilman.
And I knew then that if I wanted to learn more about the science of swimming and of exercise in general, I had to come to the U.S. So I ended up at Indiana University in Bloomington, where I did my undergraduate in exercise science, and I was very lucky to sit side by side with Doc. I was an assistant manager for the men's swim team in the glory days. And I got to work swim camp and learned a lot about swimming biomechanics, about training, philosophy, and techniques. And at the time I was an age group swim coach too, because I needed to make some money to go through college. So exercise science for me was very intriguing. It was interesting. As I swam as an athlete, I was interested to see how the body responded to training and different other strategies. And as I matured, I realized that that was a little bit of a metaphor for life in general, that as we learn something and we can apply it, we can get better. So for me, the concept of human performance crosses a broad, I would say, spectrum. Maybe we can be better in an athletic sport, or maybe we can apply some techniques and skills to be better in life in general.
So this is when you were an undergrad?
Undergrad, yeah, wow. Undergrad.
And what time period would that have
This was 1984 to 88, 89.
Okay, and then did you go from there to get another degree?
So
or what did you do?
I finished my exercise science undergrad and realized that coaching swimming was probably not the career I thought I wanted. So I got into hospital wellness and health education. At the same time, met my husband, and so then decided to stay in the U.S. And after about 6 or 7 years of working, I went back, but I decided to diversify my education and go for a master's in business administration.
Oh, gee.
So the combination of exercise science and an MBA, I had worked in a hospital wellness program, and then at the time I got my MBA, I was in fitness management in campus recreational sports at Indiana University. So it was a great growing and learning experience. I applied a lot of what I learned in the business school to managing and making our programs more efficient, proving return on investment, break-even analysis if we wanted to buy a new set of bikes for a cycling studio.
You were probably ahead of your time doing that.
I was a little bit.
In that field.
I was a little bit, yeah. And the one thing that I learned is I wanted to be able to be more marketable, because when in your career you decide, because of life, you're married, you're staying in one place, what else could I do? I was also intrigued in fitness. I did a lot of educating of participants, but later when I supervised staff, I would do a lot of training for the staff, and eventually working in a fitness facility, I trained the frontline staff and being better in their communication skills and customer service. We would do some educational seminars on stress management, or sort of more balancing and fitting exercise into your lifestyle. As you know, all of us in the health and fitness field just preach that all the time.
Right.
So,
the gospel.
The gospel, yeah. So I had an opportunity to leave the fitness management day-to-day and work in human resources of the university in their training and organizational development department, which was really my shift away from day-to-day fitness management.
Sure.
So I did that, and my career took off in that area, but I still stayed as a fitness educator in the fitness field. I would teach classes every week. I really believed that if I was getting on the road and meeting instructors or personal trainers and teaching them a skill, I needed to be doing it as well.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was then where I am now, where I work more in the business world, but I still consider myself an educator, and in the fitness field I can do, I work for Schwinn and Stairmaster. I do a lot of education sessions for them, or I may do a speaking engagement on the importance of exercise and fitting it into your lifestyle. And in the business world, I'm asked to do a lot of speaking. I have the credibility of my undergraduate and my certifications, and I can a little bit know the language that they speak and make it realistic
and then
for
with
people.
your MBA, it gives you your entree into the business world.
Absolutely, absolutely.
very
And
neat.
back to the spectrum, for me, learning what the skills it takes to be fitter and healthier, learning how to run a better meeting as a manager, learning how to manage your time better or do a better presentation. It's all human performance,
Yeah,
as I
it
said.
is.
It is. It's
It is.
improving yourself. So.
Well, when you were an undergrad, had you known about ACSM at that time?
Yes, our university, our kinesiology department, our school of hyper is very involved. So it was my goal after I received my first job, because it cost a little bit, was to get an HFI certification at the time.
That's health and fitness
Health
instructor.
and fitness instructor,
Right,
yes.
right.
And I'll tell you, I'll never let that thing expire, because I never want to go through
That's
that
a tough one
test
to get.
again.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It was, and I had some tough graders. I had some double stethoscope, sneaky test examiners that try to make me, not pass. I won't name any names, but made it through. And I thought it really improved my credibility as a health and fitness educator at the time, and set me aside from all the people that flaunt the weekend certifications, as I call them.
The easy ones.
Yeah, the easy ones are the ones that pretty much add the acronyms or the numbers or the letters after your name. I don't believe in that. So I'm a strong proponent of ACSM, and always tell our students to get the best certifications from ACSM and attend the meetings.
What year do you remember when you actually joined? When that would have been?
Well, I got my HFI, it must have been in I'm thinking in 91 or 92, so I probably joined then. I had my first job by then, so I could pay for it.
For the dues?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now,
so
was Jim Skinner a faculty member at
that
Indiana?
was later. That was later.
Okay.
He came in later.
Okay.
My husband, Jack Ragland, teaches at Indiana, and so I met him my last semester of my senior year. He was coming in as a new faculty. He's a faculty ACSM, and he goes to the other meeting, and
the
national meeting. But we've done some presentations together. He studies exercise adherence, so we've done a presentation called "The Dog Ate My Exercise Shoes," because back when I was running fitness programs, I would talk about more the practical, sort of how do you design programs for people to help them adhere, and he would talk more about the psychological or research base behind.
Well, I think that's becoming I mean, everyone seems to know now that physical activity is important. The problem is getting people to do it.
Absolutely.
And it's a behavior modification thing.
Absolutely.
So.
Or giving them the incentive. I always think now in the business world, I teach people and students how to present themselves and do good presentations. And you have to study your audience. So even though our guidelines say that you have to do something a certain way, if you know your audience is so far from that, you have to be more realistic.
Be able to adapt.
And give them something that they can stick with and something that they can do.
Right.
To give you an example, I have a very avid participant in my Saturday morning 7 a.m. cycling class, and he runs, he is an owner of a chain of restaurants that's quite popular. And he said, we have our national meeting. I'd like you to be one of the speakers because I want you to speak about health and exercise. And I said, Tom, I'd love to, but I don't like to do a one-shot deal, kind of get them excited and leave them. I said, I will only do it if your CEO agrees to design some kind of a goal and incentive program. There's many resources out there that I could connect you with. He said, our company focuses on goals very much, on performance of how the stores do. And I said, I will only do it if we make a deal of this way. And I believe it, because for me, I would feel as if I was cheating them to go in and get them all motivated.
No follow-up.
And then leave. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's what we call transfer of training in the world of learning and
Did
development.
it work, or did it?
It's
they
going.
do it?
Hopefully, it's going to happen next
It's
year.
in the
so
process.
I set my guidelines. So we'll see if they'll hire me.
See if it works.
We'll see. Maybe I've fired myself before I got a chance.
Well, so when did you? I can just understand now what you're saying. Why the summit is perfect.
Absolutely.
For you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was wondering when you got involved in the summit, and from my standpoint, it seems like a great idea that ACSM came up with, other than the national meeting.
Sure.
And I wondered when you got involved, and you've been involved now for quite
I wish,
a while.
I wish I would have looked. I probably have been presenting here for a good 7 or 8 years, or maybe more. How old is the summit? Is it?
I think it's the fifth. Is it the 15th?
Is it 15? So maybe it's about 7 or 8. I remember there were a couple meetings back to back in Florida. I think the summit is the practical side of what we do.
Yes.
The national meeting has a lot of science and a lot of information, and a lot of articles start to get, you can see the media picking up on stories, and right after the national meeting happens. But this is where practitioners come to network. They come to get new ideas. They come to get the practice in combination with the theory. The theory is great, but if you don't tell people now how do you take it to the practical level, it becomes interesting but not practical.
Yeah, and also it loses its value. I mean, if you're not going to be able to have someone do it or benefit from it.
You can read a book, and then you can use a handbook, and I feel that the summit is more the handbook of the health and fitness industry, and we need it. We need both.
And I noticed there's a lot of hands-on, so to speak, here. A lot of sessions where they're doing what they're talking about.
And what you're involved with healthy learning, I think the future of learning in general is not just face-to-face. We have to give people options to do webinars and do online training or online additional continuing education, and be able to work through DVDs, because the cost of travel as much sometimes is more difficult. It would be better if people can use what we call blended learning in a way in the world of learning and development. So it's very useful to see ACSM be able to jump on all of these different tools.
Yeah, and I noticed too that there was a session last year and maybe before, but then again this year, on using Twitter and Facebook and things like that.
It's always, a popular one.
Just from my own experience, I didn't even know what a blog was until a few years ago. But I mean, it's actually a very, very beneficial tool for a lot of people.
For personal trainers, for practitioners. We build communities. Fitness is sort of a way of life. So we can't just say that you do it when you come to the gym. I notice that my friends all tend to be people that are active, and we like the same things and do the same things. And if we can help our practitioners out there create those communities of better living in a way, we're giving them more tools to do it. Yeah.
So are you still then working with the university?
Yes. So after the chapter goes that after human resources, I had a wonderful opportunity to come on the faculty of the Kelley School of Business, which is one of the top 10 ranked business schools in the nation as a public school. And because I was doing a lot of speaking and training, there's a course that every undergraduate in the Kelley School has to take called Business Presentations. So I was perfect for that, and I walk in the first day and I ask how many of them, they're all freshmen, have been involved in sports. So they all raise their hand, and I say, great. So how did you get better at football, swimming, soccer, tennis? So I try to build the analogy that speaking extemporaneously and speaking with conviction and being persuasive is a skill, just like the skill that you learned. So then I say, so what would you do from one game to the other? Would you just hang out and watch tape and play with your friends? No, we'd go to practice. Great, that's what you're doing here.
Yeah, I bet that's very popular. I mean, they could relate to that instantly.
Yeah, they do, because they know what it's like to build a skill. So I get 16 weeks to teach them a new skill, and it's so rewarding to see the stuttering, no eye contact, nervous, and very reserved speakers have a suit on, and by week 16 they look like the sales manager of a pharmaceutical
Do they
firm.
do a presentation then?
They do 16 of them.
Oh,
They do,
wow.
sorry, 9 of them in 16 weeks. We videotape all, and I have to tell you, my coaching of swimming years, where we used to videotape and we used to audio tape comments for the swimmers on top of the
as
film.
they're doing it, yeah.
We develop technology now where I can watch them on video and I can type comments that get blended and embedded. So when they see it, they see what they need to work on. They see what they're working on that's going well.
What a great course.
Yeah, it's actually, again, you know, my continuum continues. I can teach them how, and they feel really, really, they feel very good about their accomplishments.
Yeah, I would see their confidence level come
Incredible.
up. And then that's going to carry over to other things.
Absolutely. But I have to tell you that the ones that come to me that have an athletic background or have been involved in sport and understand what it takes to push your limits, what it takes to practice, what it takes to have the discipline to go back again and again, are the ones that can apply that and they get it a little quicker. So for me, the whole concept of the philosophy of exercise and health and sport in life is essential, and it builds so many more skills. So I tell our students to continue to practice good, healthy habits and stay on top of it.
Oh, this is a great idea. So do you teach other classes, or is this the main one?
I teach a few others. I'm very interested because of my background in cross-cultural communication. So what happens when we all come from a different place? And this semester, I've been so fortunate. I'm from Athens, Greece, as I told you. I proposed a class on the business culture of Greece, and it got accepted. So we're studying, as Greece right now is going through a difficult economic time, we're studying how politics and law and culture and infrastructure and economy influence doing business in a country. And then I get to take about 20 students to Athens for 10
I wondered
days
if that was
in
going to
May.
be
That's
part
part
of
of it. It's part of the immersion.
You got to have a field trip.
Yep, we're going on a big field trip. So
Fantastic.
yeah, it's very rewarding.
I think you have put everything together in such
You
a
think?
great package.
Yeah.
You probably wonders, like, is this really true?
Is this happening?
Is this happening?
I feel I've lived the American dream, I can say. And when I go there, I'm going a few days early. I'm doing a water fitness master class at a big fitness center because they asked me and I want to stay connected. But again, I keep in a way, health and fitness is like oxygen to me. I really live and breathe it every day. So the continuum of education, if it's business presentations or if it's how to teach a good cycling class, for me, I can be a good educator in both.
Yeah. Well, so I told you time goes real fast. One sort of a final thing. Where do you see sort of the summit is now, and what about changes? Do you think things are going well? Do you think? I know attendance is down this time, and how do you see things going as far as what's happening, what should happen?
If you ask, now having been to enough of these meetings and differentiating them from other fitness education events around the country, because I've been to a lot of them in the world, I see the summit as a place for professionals to connect, network, and learn. But I think that we are the only ones, the only entity that professionally develops students strategically. And for example, Penn State, you probably have noticed they have so many students here, and it's so nice to see a program that will help students have a professional development experience, see the world outside of their books. In fact, they asked me to do a lecture, and I did a long distance education. I was in front of a camera, and they were there. I went to their room and did a presentation. in a way, it's hard to get to State College, and I did it just because I wanted to contribute to the field. But if we have the opportunity to train and develop those students, in a way, we're improving the quality of the field and having retention
And
in
the
the long
future
term.
as well. So,
In the future, yeah. So if we're working on the students, that's very helpful.
thank you so much for spending some time
You're
with us
welcome.
today.
It's a pleasure.
It goes very fast. but
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all the
Thanks to
great
you, Jack.
stuff.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.